guys, it's Victoria and welcome back to FemmeHead. Today I've got another video brought to you by Beducated. I was able to partner up again with them for today's video and I'm very excited about today's topic. Recently I've been on a little personal wellness journey, and one aspect of that is tuning in and trying to live more in sync with my cycle. So we're going to talk about that today and the ways in which I do that, and we're going to talk about cycle journaling. But first I want to talk to you about the course that I got to take on Beducated. It is the Menstrual Cycle Wellness course by Lisa DeYoung, and it was what I was looking for without even knowing about it. Beducated is all about education, and they call themselves the sex ed that you wish you had, and I totally think that's true. I saw this course a while ago. There's other courses I wanted to take first, or I was more curious about when I was choosing course in the past, but this one, I don't know, it just spoke to me this time, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take this course. I love learning about anything cycle related, period related. I could show you a stack of like 4 or 5 books that are all period and cycle related. I gobble up that information. So it was really fun to take Lisa's course and see the ways that she presented information, how she explained things, her analogies, and it just made me think of things or see things in a way that I hadn't before. So I want to give you kind of like a brief little overview without sharing too much, because I want you to obviously go take the course for yourself because it's really good. So Lisa starts with a little walkthrough of our hormones throughout the cycle and kind of the science behind our cycle, I think is what that segment is called. And I think this is just like a great base foundational knowledge to have before you learn about any of the phases, any of like how to track your cycle. I think it's just really good to like understand what is actually happening during your cycle. So I think that's a great place to start. And then she goes into the different phases or seasons. I think the analogy of using seasons to correlate to each phase is very helpful for people to think about. So she takes you through the different phases or seasons and kind of talks you through, you know, what's happening, what you need, and just all that sort of stuff that I love and I think is so helpful to learn about. When you learn that you are not supposed to be the same every single day, cycle around, that like things ebb and flow and change, and that's how it's supposed to be, and how you can cater to that, and how our world isn't catered to that, but ways you can incorporate it into your day-to-day life. Then she has a little section about how to track your cycle, which I think is very helpful for those that are new to it or just need kind of a refresher. Like, it's always good to have a refresher in that. And then she goes into our nervous system, which I think is just like another element of the full picture, and I think it's very important to learn about. Her course is a great one for those looking to dig a bit deeper into their cycles beyond maybe just charting it for birth control, to learn about how you can work with your cycle instead of fighting against it. So you can head over to Beducated now. I'll have the links and codes and everything written down below, but you can test it out with a free trial. Take this course or take one of the courses or whatever you want to do. Depends on how fast you are at taking courses, I guess. But then you can also use my code FemmeHead, which I will link down below. You can get a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription, and you just hop on there, choose a course, depending on the topic you want. Like, there is a range of topics. There's a little bit of something for everyone, and I think our like interests and moods change, and so it's fun to be like, oh yeah, you know, 2 months ago, I really enjoyed learning about this, but you know, this month I really want to learn about this. It introduces you to things that maybe you've been curious about, never even thought about before. And it's just like a very safe, comfortable way to learn about things in the comfort of your own home. So going along with all that, I wanted to give a few ways in which I track and stay in sync with my cycle beyond just using it for fam and birth control. Obviously, if you don't already, you need to chart your cycle. I think is just like a core thing that we should all be doing. For those of us who have menstrual cycles, you can get paper charts, you can get little like journals that have, you know, paper charts in them. There's a lot of different options. There's apps, and I feel like apps are the most popular way because you literally always have your phone with you, and so it's just easy to just put in information as it happens throughout the day. I find that really helpful with tracking my fluid and that sort of stuff. Obviously your temperature, like you do that in the morning, and for me it syncs. But anyways, I wanted to talk about the custom like data points in here. You can add whatever you want. You can kind of use it as like a habit tracker too. Like some of these are more like habit trackery than charting, but I just wanted to share some of the things that I chart to hopefully maybe inspire you to add a few more things to your chart. So I have what phase I'm in, so whether that is menstrual, follicular, ovulatory, or luteal, as well as the moon phase. That's more of like a new thing. I just think it's really interesting. Some people bleed with the new moon, some people bleed with the full moon. I just find that fascinating, so it's fun to see how those align, like the moon phases and what phase you're in. Then I have cramping, I have my sleep quality, so how well I slept the night before, what mood I'm in, my energy level, if I did any exercise for the day, if I am traveling or traveled, because that can impact your chart, headaches, acne, nausea, whether I drank, because that can affect your cycle, hydration, how much water I drink. That's more of like a habit tracker thing, but I noticed a difference in PMS and my periods depending on how hydrated I've been leading up to it, what my libido is like, how irritable I am, and how motivated I am for the day. And so it's nice to just kind of like go through and like tick things off, and you start to see patterns emerge. You can anticipate things coming up. One thing for me is acne. I break out around ovulation, and then once my period comes, it's kind of like my skin clears up, like everything just kind of goes. So you start to see things, be like, oh yeah, I break out more during ovulation, and I get really irritable leading up to my period, and it just helps you anticipate what's coming so you can set yourself up for success. Another way that I keep track of and tune into what phase I'm in is I have it on my Google Calendar. I just have it as like a repeating event. I don't know if you can see this like little orange ready one up here. It says I'm in my ovulatory phase right now. So I just have these set to repeat for a certain number of days that I know, my phases usually are. And I will kind of tweak them, like if I start my period a little early or a little late, like I'll tweak it, and then it like updates the future. This is great because every morning I pull up my Google Calendar to see what I've got going on for the day, plan stuff out, yada, 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 all that. And it's just a quick, easy way to see like, oh yeah, I'm in my ovulation phase, so I should plan on doing like XYZ. And when I'm scheduling stuff or planning stuff in the future, I can get a gist of where I am going to be in my cycle. And so I can be like, ooh, yeah, maybe I should push that hang out with my friends a couple days later to where I'm not going to be on my period, and I'll be more engaging and social and want to do that. And I should just give myself time during my period and leading up to it to just rest and not be social, try to schedule that big presentation when I'm ovulating. And there's so much that can come with having your cycle on your calendar and being able to slowly start scheduling things based on where you are and where you're going to be. I've even started to some degree scheduling my content creation based on where I'm going to be in my cycle. So right now is my ovulatory phase, so this is my best like face-to-face sort of thing. So I would say like the follicular and ovulatory phase and like the beginning of my luteal phase are the best time for me to like sit down and film stuff. The end of my luteal phase of my period is the time to like hunker down and edit or like plan for upcoming stuff and not be like on screen. And the final thing that I've recently started doing that is just like another easy way to check in and be more in sync with your cycle is cycle journaling. I'm trying to think if someone recently talked about it or where I got this idea from, and it has escaped me. But anyways, grab any old notebook, just as long as it has like pages to write in, your favorite pen, and each day, at the end of the day, I keep just like a blank notebook or, a scrap notebook on my bedstand. So I can do like brain dumps, I can jot things down, but also like I can do gratitudes. I will write down like the date, what cycle day I'm on, and just kind of anything that is cycle related or phase related. Just a good way to check in, tune in, notice anything, and then you can be like, oh yeah, like my period's coming up, so I know I want to like plan some easy meals. I want to make sure I have period products on hand. And like it's just being in sync with your cycle and being in tune with it. Things don't catch you off guard as often, and you just like, it just makes more sense, and you are kinder to yourself when you're feeling certain ways or you don't have a lot of energy. I'm better at like not beating myself up for not being super high energy and outgoing and social during my period. I'm like, I know that's not what I need. That's okay. That is where I'm at in my cycle. I know I will catch up and be fine. The best thing I can do for myself right now is rest and relax and kind of recuperate. And I don't know, it's just been really good for my health in general, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, to try to tune in and be as in sync with my cycle as possible. I mean, there are things outside of our control and we can only schedule so much. There's certain things that have to happen regardless of like where you are in your cycle, and that's fine, but there is so much you learn that you have control over. And when you're able to plan ahead, that's when the magic really starts happening. These are just some easy ways that you can start incorporating your cycle into your day-to-day life now. Don't already, but I'm sure you do if you're here. Chart your cycle, figure out where you are, start tracking your different like symptoms and whatever, your moods, your energy, whatever it is, and you'll begin to see like, oh yeah, like it's really easy for me to go out and exercise at this point, but I would much prefer to just kind of have like a really slow stretching routine at this point. It's a little bit of a game changer depending on how you utilize it. I hope you found a little spark of inspiration from today. If you need one, go check out Beducated. They have like, most of it is more like sex ed sort of stuff, but I think obviously our menstrual cycle is very tied into everything. And I really enjoyed Lisa's course. So thank you again to Beducated for sponsoring today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, learned something, were inspired, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.